Hello, today I want to talk to you about grief. Grief really shows up differently for different people, and grief can show up differently for one person, differently depending on who we lost. I want to talk to you about my experiences of my loss. Unfortunately, I went through my first big loss at age of 15. 10 days after we arrived to the United States, immigrating to San Diego. It was the first time we had reunited with my entire family, my brother, sister, both my parents, and we were whole as together since my brother had already immigrated to the United States at a very young age, and I was away from him for about 10 years, I think. 10 years. When we arrived and we lost my dad suddenly, I went into a shock. The way the event unfolded really left me not understanding what's happening. I remember his last day as it was a movie when we went to the hospital after 911 came, and they had us go after they tried to revive him, and we went to the room to see him from last time. I felt like I was watching a movie. I just remember I was saying, why? After all these years, it's still hard to talk about it. And when my mom passed away in 2017, it was a little different. I was a little older, but nevertheless, the circumstances were unpredictable and it happened so fast that I wasn't able to process what had happened. Really, I couldn't really bring myself to understand how the doctors missed out on all the symptoms she was having. They were telling us even some extreme malpractice comments that she might be experiencing depression. One thing that women face in the healthcare, they're not taken seriously, unfortunately, after we found out that she was actually had cancer. And with my dad, I was in denial. I was numb. That's the way I dealt with the grief. We had to move on fast to survive the new environment, get accustomed to the culture, to my new school, my new surroundings. And with my mom, 6 months after I lost her, I got laid off from a job that I thought I was going to retire from. I loved that position. And this was before COVID, where you could work remotely, and they wanted me to come in the office, so they couldn't really help me out that way. But so I was dealing with the grief of losing my mom and suddenly loss of my job. And that grief was very different. It was deep. It was, to me, preventable for my mom's loss. But my point of making this for you is grief comes in different forms, and grief doesn't have an expiration date. My dad passed away in 1988. Some days I still cry thinking how he left us so soon and how much of life he missed with his children and his grandchildren that he never met. So if you're going through a loss, you're not alone. You're not alone. Draw strength from the love they gave you. Draw strength from people around you, from your support system. And know that grief can hit you a different way. What's important is self-care and self-love when you're going through a loss.